If we begin to forgive ourselves, will it set an example and allow others to forgive us? Maybe it will allow others to forgive themselves. Let's talk about it.
This is a beautiful thought.
Welcome, beautiful thinkers. I'd like to talk to you about setting the precedent. I was thinking about this principle from neuro-linguistic programming. They call it go first. And the idea is if you want somebody to feel a certain emotion, to feel a certain way, say if you're a motivational speaker, for example, and you want people to get excited or you want people to get focused, the first thing you do is become excited and become focused yourself. Naturally, other people will start to follow. It's a kind of mirror response. It's a kind of contagious energy. Like we used to say in direct sales, why do we smile? Because smiles are contagious. So if someone smiles at you, it's normally pretty natural that you're going to want to smile back. If someone feels good about meeting you, it's natural that you will also feel good about meeting them. And sometimes I think about forgiveness or about healing. So there's an idea from Rupert Sheldrake, the biologist. He has this hypothesis. It's called morphic fields, morphogenetic fields. The idea, one of the key ideas of this hypothesis is that the universe has habits, just as a human has habits. The universe, if it does things over and over, the more likely they are to happen again. Or if something happens for the first time, well, it's very much more likely to happen again. So if you read his books, he gets into some examples talking about with rats getting the way through mazes in the University of Melbourne, I think, and then it tends to happen. The same breed of rat gets through the same maze in a different part of the world, but quicker. Or the example of crystals forming in one location. The first time a chemical is synthesized and it forms a crystal, it forms quite slowly. But then the second time, the third time, it forms progressively quicker. And according to Sheldrake, the reason is because of these universal habits. Once something happens once, that makes it so much more likely to happen again. Now, think about it on a personal level. Imagine, like many of us, you've probably done some things which you still judge yourself for. Some things you regret, perhaps intensely. And it's difficult to forgive yourself for that. And perhaps when you even interact with other people, you might have that sometimes in the back of your mind thinking, I know they are judging me for it. And of course, try as you might, you can't escape that thought when you're around certain people. You still believe that they have that impression of you. And naturally, it colors a lot of things that you do. It colors your perspective. Of course, once you forgive yourself, then you might put that out of your mind. And you might not even think about it when you're around other people. You might not believe they're judging you. And in fact, perhaps these things, well, maybe they were a big deal for other people, maybe not. Because a lot of the times we find if we try to think about bad things that we've done, then it's easy. We try to think about bad things that other people have done. A lot of the time they can just slip away. If those people are still our friends, we're willing to overlook those things, forgive them, and move past them in a lot of cases. So maybe those things aren't such a big deal. And just by the fact of forgiving ourselves, we can change our own world because we change our perception of the world. We move past that And so our perception of the world reflects that. But also, well, what if actually it goes beyond that? What if it is like Rupert Sheldrake talks about, that in fact we are creating a precedent in the world, in the universe. The first time we do something, the first time we forgive ourselves for something, or perhaps we forgive somebody in a family, a deep family secret, a family trauma, perhaps one that has lasted for generations. Perhaps we can go back and forgive that in our minds, in our meditations, and as a result, we begin to heal. Now, maybe you don't buy into that Sheldrake morphogenic field stuff. That's understandable. It's in some ways, it's quite a far out idea. But of course, these things also apply even if you don't believe in that. So if we can go back and begin to forgive our past, forgive our parents, our grandparents for the way that we were treated, forgive ourselves for the way we treated ourselves and others, to begin to heal the hurts, our heartbreak. Of course, even if it doesn't echo out through the entire universe, it certainly echoes within our actions and the ways that we interact with other people. If we can heal our familiar wounds, of course, for our own children or our own nephews or young people that we interact with, whom we serve as role models, of course, that's going to affect their actions, their beliefs, their mentality in the long run. So why not begin? Begin where we are. Of course, we can't begin anywhere else. Begin where we are. Begin today. Sometimes I say to my coaching clients, what's something you could do today to implement this insight? Perhaps even 15 minutes from now, perhaps even as soon as this podcast or this session ends. What could you do to make that real for yourself? What could you do to forgive yourself, to heal yourself, to set that precedent, to begin to allow the echoes of your healing, of your wonderful, shining internal light to come out. As a wise man once said, nobody would put a lantern under the coffee table, under a blanket, so nobody could see it. No. Put the lantern clearly in the center of the room so it illuminates, so it shines out. And so it is with our own healing. Soon enough, the effects of our healing will shine out brightly. And that is why we set a precedent. Thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to breathe into your emotional wounds, to take a moment to forgive yourself. Perhaps you'll practice Ho'oponopono and learn to move past the past. Learn to open up a brighter future. I'll talk to you soon.
A beautiful thought.
Thanks for joining us, and remember to forgive yourself. Have a great day.